the jungle come for you. Tell me what you wanna do, what you wanna do.
Florida man standing in his sunroof while driving his Cadillac down I-4.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, and of course, this is the Welcome to Florida show, where we just have a whole bunch of fun, laughing, cringing, learning about, of course, the second craziest state in the union, California being the first. And love that you guys are here with us. So, yes, we are picking up our EFAP series about the Disney FastPass, a history of FastPass, actually, over on the Defunctland channel that Dadman Walking first brought it to my attention. So, of course, we have him as our very special guest on the show, and of course, my wingman Culture Casino down there as well.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Good. It is an awesome honor and pleasure to be back on. Yes, because I do remember that sharing that video with you probably a year and a half ago. And then one day, all of a sudden, you brought it out of nowhere. I was like, oh, yeah, that was a year later. And we talked about it. It was like, it's funny how time flies like that. So crazy. Yeah. But as always, thank you for letting me come on. And always a pleasure to spend time with you, Reina, and Culture as always. And Culture did something different with his hair tonight, though.
Oh no, I washed and conditioned my hair, so yeah, I spent the balance of the day working on a project in the backyard, so I had to clean up. Let's just so when it's wet and it dries, it ringlets up. Yeah, it goes crazy.
Well, I stick with this look because it's very appealing.
Makes sense.
It doesn't scare away everybody like the trilogy Terror Zuni doll, thanks to Reina that brought back into my life. But that's another fun story.
Well, I actually saw a movie hasn't scared me in a long time, since The Ring, and I was watching this with over on the Burnett Work on Saturday. A movie called Smile.
Oh yeah, that freaked me out just from the previews.
That one, oh man, the jump scares. It was a good movie, but man, yeah, not since The Ring.
Wow.
Because that scared me. So, let's see. Well, first of all, let's welcome our folks starting to file in here to the show before we get started, of course, with our opening things before we get to the main topic. Let's see. I see Keely Chow here. Says, hey, everybody. I'm finally back in Houston. Well, hello, and roll tide as always every time we see you. Blakia is here. Says, hi, all. Well, hello, Blakia, and good to see you. Good to see you. And CJ, my thumbnail guy. Evening, folks. Be right back. Heating up some coffee. Saying hi, everybody. B. And hey, Lonnie says, howdy, folks. Got the email. Okay, good. I'm glad you got that. I'm really behind. I have to apologize. Stuff's just been crazy here. Goof R35 is in the chat. Says, hey there. Well, hey there, and hello to you. Hello to you. Dylan C is here. Says, hey, Lorena. Hey, Culture. Hey, Dad Man. And hey, chat. Well, hey, to you. Hey, to you. And Dragon Master 360 says, howdy, y'all. I voted. At least y'all tried on the poll.
We did. We tried.
Yeah.
I looked at that poll and was like, what? It's like, man, they didn't give us a chance. They didn't give us any hope of it, did they?
No.
I was positive coming in tonight, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see how far we go. We always try to aim for it, and it's just like, we're not going to make 10 minutes. Going through 10 minutes of footage. Blakia says, I found that FastPass video about the same time. I found it very interesting. These videos are just as interesting and fun. I've been waiting on this next installment since the last. Oh, well, great.
Wow, thank you.
Great. A lot for you. And Culture, let's see, Human Waffle says, Culture always shakes out his hair in slow-mo.
This is true. This is
Now,
true.
with that look, yeah, I think you can really pull it off tonight. So, yeah, I had to shave off all my hair the other day
Oh,
because that was the reasons why I talked to y'all about the other day. You know, the professional thing coming up. I had to decide. I had to become professional looking. So,
Oh, yeah.
So,
I
Mrs. was sad.
Corporate.
I want to wear a tie.
Hey, Darth Plato, good to see you. Good to see you. He says, I voted yes. All right, yes. CJ says there was no option for we didn't even try, so I had to go with you.
Okay. I think
right.
CJ had the best option right there.
Maybe so.
Yeah. And hey, Gary Banjo Sandwich Worthington says, hi, y'all. That pole was slippy. I fell off.
That's funny.
Oh, gosh.
Too funny. I love you guys in the chat. Well, when your title is stream and EFAP, there is kind of an expectation that things are going to take a while. Well, yeah, especially considering you got 3 people on the panel very familiar with Disney, very familiar with the FastPass system, and some of us who like know the science behind all of that. You know, we definitely take time to break it up, break it down for you guys. So before we get started here, a couple of things to show. First of all, since I had to experience it, I'm sharing it. If you are ever in Walt Disney World and you are looking for a place to get high quality food, a fun atmosphere with the Disney difference, some places does not seem cookie cutter, and you want to fill up the whole family on food and know how much it's going to be in advance, definitely go to the Whispering Canyon Cafe in the Wilderness Lodge, located near the Magic Kingdom. Now, they do have all a la carte you can order from. However, they have these skillets, which they say all you care to eat. But let's put it this way. Once it seems like you're maybe 2/3 of the way done, they will bring out another skillet for you. So this was the carnivore skillet that I got that had barbecue chicken, barbecue ribs, barbecue pork, carrots, corn, and potatoes. And they brought out this delicious cornbread with honey, butter. They bring you like 2 different barbecue sauces. There's even a breakfast one that has scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, Mickey waffles, and some of the best biscuits I have ever freaking had. Nothing here is bad. It is all freaking delicious.
That is
and
something.
I think this was $26.
Wow. And they bring it, you don't even have to ask for it. They bring it to you.
They bring it to you. They bring it to you. The joke is, it's like if you can't finish it, sometimes they'll bring out like a little jail thing to put in front of you because you didn't finish all your food. And if someone's having a birthday, they're very good at embarrassing people with that. They'll come out there and yell. One guy who I guess his name is, or he said he was JJ, and told his table, every time I walk by, yell JJ, and they're like, hey JJ, and he brings out this sign that says, I want everybody to boo because they keep calling me JJ. So the whole audience, the whole restaurant booed. And my favorite, which is the funniest thing that they do, ketchup is not provided on the tables. So if you ask the server for ketchup, they will say, okay, you're going to have to yell, we need ketchup. And usually the kids are the loudest ones that will yell, we need ketchup. All the ketchup is at somebody's table. So basically the whole family picks up like 20 bottles of ketchup and brings it over to the table. So that's kind of like the joke that happens. And I got into it too. I was like, okay, we need ketchup. Everybody brought us all these ketchup bottles. And then some other table yelled, and we went and brought the ketchup bottles over to them. It's fun.
That is awesome. That is awesome. But you know what? That reminds me of some stuff where they throw rolls at you into. But you know, looking at that food, you know, why would you want ketchup? It's like steak sauce. Why, if the meat's so good, the food's so good, why would you want to cover it in anything?
Yeah, because I don't. This is the one place where you really don't. They bring you out the barbecue sauce and stuff. But I think with the ketchup, it's such a joke that's caught on
Mm-hmm.
that people expect it. So it's so funny when they ask for ketchup and the little kids running over with the ketchup, and everybody's looking around to find out who's asking for ketchup. So it is fun. Yes, barbecue yourself to death. You will go into overload. And yeah, exactly, Goof R35. I believe some of the similar food is going to be at Woody's Roundup. I didn't go this time because I was going here, but I'll go next month. The food seems to look to be the same, with the same theme, fixed price. I believe all you care to eat. So I think over there it's 45 for adults. So the pricing is much higher over there. But I'm going to give it a try and let you guys know what I think. Do they bring the rope and pulley to help you out of your seat when you're done eating? No, but they should have. I swear I needed to like roll myself out of that place when I was done.
A proper block and tackle to get people out. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. If you ask for a little water root beer, they will bring it out in a tiny glass. If you ask for a little Coke, it's illegal. I was there with Camera Girl, and since she could only finish half her skillet, they bought her back half a refill of apple juice.
Oh man.
Wow.
It was funny. It was freaking funny.
Well, you know what you said about the little kids getting involved. That had to be quite a scene, with the kids getting involved, and that's kind of a cool thing. I was going to kind of refer to as a place in Alabama where they're home of the throwing rolls. They'll just throw rolls across the restaurant at you. Well, our little one, Ang, that's not so little anymore, we had to tell the people to quit throwing rolls at us because Ang kept yelling for rolls to be thrown, and we had a table full of rolls in front of us. I love bread, but oh gosh, that was a filling day.
Well, my server brought out tons of like straws and dropped them on the table. And he's like, I'm gonna make it snow. And he's dropping all of these napkins on the paper napkins on the table. And one kid, I guess it was her birthday, they got her birthday hat. You know what her birthday hat was?
What?
A coffee filter. It's a big, huge. It looked really cute. So the kids have an absolute blast at this restaurant. It's just fun seeing the families have fun. Of course, the food is good.
And that's good to hear because really that's the type of hotel. And when you look at it, it looks so adult, it's so serious. I mean, it's beautiful inside. You might prejudge it as it's not kid friendly, but hearing about that, it's awesome.
It's awesome, and the server will tell you it gets really loud in here, and it does, and nobody cares because everybody's having a great time.
And you don't need Mickey Mouse to show up. Hey, you got good food.
No, the cast members make that whole atmosphere, and each cast member has a different personality, and when they interact, it makes it even funnier. Well. It's your birthday week, so happy birthday week, Dragon Master 360, and Darth Plato. Happy birthday to your mom as well. So, gotta acknowledge those birthdays there. No, I don't think he's sporting a mullet. It's post-washed hair, taking time to get dry there. Right. Good to see you, JAF.
Hey, everybody. And Demogeni just rolled in the door.
Demogeni's in the chat. Hey, you doing? Says, hail chat. Hail chat. After the stream, you guys go over and raid Demogeni's channel. I know he's doing some gaming over there. So let's see. Yes, there is a Florida Man series to begin streaming on Netflix next month. I have no idea how good it's going to be. I don't think it'll be anywhere close to the stuff we talk about on this
show. Well, if it's Tampa, Tampa's Hillsborough, could be Hillsborough, Pinellas County, so you never know.
It could be. It could be. So what they're saying is that it will reportedly follow one particular man from Florida, Mike Valentine, who is a recovering gambling addict.
Oh, my.
Valentine reluctantly returned to the Sunshine State after a mob boss sent him to find his missing girlfriend. I don't know. We'll have to see. The guy who created it and is the showrunner, he was born and raised in the States. So it'll be interesting to see what this show is like.
It's kind of suspicious it's like a transplant. They're sending somebody back to Florida. What you need is a real Putnam County man for a show like that, or, something rural in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because that's way more interesting.
Way more real.
Yeah, way more realistic. Where does it live? The third trailer back there down the road, there's no lights at all for miles. that kind of thing.
Oh, has a trailer
Culture
out.
prefers to call them Mississippi mud flaps. Oh, that's funny. Culture is awesome here, though.
Well, thank you.
He really does. Well, folks, yes, we are going to be talking about FastPass Plus. Defunctland has this amazing 2-hour documentary documenting the history of FastPass. There's so much stuff in there that we are going to break that down, but it can be summarized in 2 memes. This one. So we'll just choose the attractions you'd like to book for a FastPass Plus, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's so much truth in that, because the misses, when I hesitated once or twice when it got online, we lost it. So yeah, that is truth.
It was the most freaking frustrating experience going to FastPass Plus and having to book that stuff online.
Oh, you can't understate how quick it is. It's like, I think later in the video, they'll talk about doing it early, like 60 days, all that stuff. But I know, like, when the kids were smaller and they had the Tinkerbell movies come out and stuff like that, the missus was 5 minutes early trying to spam to keep getting in, because you got to get in early, and because they're gone in seconds. So, and if you get one, don't drop it. So,
nope. You literally had to go in with the strategy of which ones you were going to get and like when, because I would actually have to work backwards, because I had I was staying on property. So you have a longer window to book your fast passes. So I didn't book my fast pass from the day that I checked in. I would book it starting at the end of my trip, because it seemed like anything I wanted for the first day, gone, nothing available. If I start from the end day and go forward, then I seem to get what I wanted. It was nuts. But if you thought FastPass Plus was bad, then you have Genie Plus, and this pretty much sums it up. Give them nothing, but take from them everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my.
Speaking of that, do you know that Tron is going to soft open about, I think like about a week, I want to say close to 2 weeks. So that's opening up.
That doesn't
Limited soft open with virtual queues and paid Lightning Lane, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, and segue back to where we left off a while back, because early in the video they talked about how in the early designs of the FastPass, the whole intent was to keep it in line with Walt's philosophy, not having different tiers of people, that it's free and accessible to everybody. And I remember that in the video, specifically why the FastPass started was so that everybody could benefit from it, not because you had more money or you could book your vacation stuff far out in advance. And so that's an important point there. So I did remember that early in the video. Just a reminder to people that may not have watched the video yet, or may have forgotten since we last talked. So,
okay, yes, thank you for catching that up, for folks. But yes, FastPass used to be free. You just basically had to get there and get them, and if they were done for the day, they were done for the day. But everyone had an equal chance to get them, even if you weren't staying on a Disney property. As long as you had a ticket for the park, you could go and get a fast pass, and it was very easy and straightforward. And then when they moved to the Fast Pass Plus system, that's when things got nuts. Harder to get them, harder to acquire them, the limitations on them. And we talked about it, I believe, in the last time we did the Fast Pass, the problems with the technology that they were trying to integrate to run FastPass Plus, which caused all kinds of problems. And I know Culture talked at length about it, but that's what was going on. Now, of course, they have the Genie Plus, which you have the one that you pay for a certain number of attractions that you can get in a special line for, or you can pay the Lightning Lane, which again brings stratification to people who can pay and the people who don't. And it never used to be that way. So it's made things extremely complicated to go when things used to be simple. You just show up, ticket, fast, you're good.
Well, it's like you get there, road trip and run. You get those early fast passes, then you get them out, then you can get more during the day. There was like a science for it, as we talked about before. But
yeah, because we all talked about how we used to be runners to go get the fast passes.
Yep, best exercise program you could ever have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you had a fitness tracker back in those days, you'd have had your steps fast.
Yeah.
Running back and forth a quarter mile across the park is not fun.
Not at all. And Hubert Waffle says the Fast Pass era was equality Disney. True. Now it's equity Disney, which ironically favors those with the most money. Yes, because it used to be that let's put it this way, no matter what resort you stayed in on Disney property, you still had access to evening magic hours, like 3 hours at night and an hour in the morning. So you could stay like at at the value resort, you'd have the same amount of time in the parks extra as someone who stayed at the deluxe, which was great. But now you can't even get evening magic hours unless you're staying at a deluxe resort. I think DVC too, but they've pared it down to deluxe resorts. So
yeah, and
not the value.
Again, Disney has constantly stripped value away from everything that they used to do, removed value everywhere. And it was supposed to, Iger kind of addressed it, said that they were going to change it back, give people perks and stuff. Nothing's happened.
No.
You've been losing and continuing to lose things. So it's very frustrating. Hey, Guy Scar.
Hey, Guy Scar. Guy Scar hit 1K. So
yeah, he did.
Hey,
he did. Congrats. Right.
Yeah, they still are. They're like, oh, we're not going to charge for parking anymore. Yeah, you shouldn't have took that back in the first place. But there's nothing that they've done that's been to bring back that system of equity or bring back value. That's not happening. Not happening anytime soon. It's kind of like Disney wants a pat on the back for doing that stuff, but it's like it didn't really cost you anything for what you did, and it doesn't really do anything to enhance the guest experience at all. So I believe we stopped here.
23 minutes in.
Yeah,
wow.
23 minutes in. So let's see how fast we go by today. Backing up just a little bit.
February 17th, 2003, the 100 millionth FastPass was distributed to the Dillon family of Atlanta, who were given a special golden FastPass that allowed them FastPass access to
So I'm
all
backing up a
attractions at the
little bit,
resort.
maybe like
Mike
about
Dillon said,
20
quote,
seconds
"Things like this don't
from
happen
the
to the
last video.
On a
I love that we have the segment of the family.
1971, Jebediah Dillon stowed away on a cargo ship named the Queen
I like how
Mara, which would soon
Defunctland would do
navigate
these
the
little
tumultuous waters of
segues
the Atlantic Ocean.
when they'll get so
Bound
caught
for
up in their own rabbit hole and they're
I
like,
lost
wait a
my
minute, I don't know
thread
where I
here.
am.
Sorry about that. Where was I? By 2003, FastPass had grown significantly to 26 attractions at Walt Disney World, 5 at Animal Kingdom, 6 at Disney MGM, 5 at Epcot, and 10 at Magic Kingdom.
So these were fast passes just for attractions.
Yep. Not for parades, not for dessert parties, not for fireworks, not for any of that. These were just attractions. And to be fair, they really had to stretch them out to get 6 at MGM, to get 5 at Epcot, and to get 5 at Animal Kingdom. There were things that had fast pass. You were going, it doesn't really need a fast pass, but hey, you had to make it like there was value there, and there was. I mean, more so than there is now. Yeah,
it was so many times like I love the Muppet 3D, but it had a fast pass. It's like never had a line. I mean, and we were at busy times of the year, but but to your point, they did force some of them. Seem like that's the type of scramble ride or Phil Hard Magic, those big mass groupings that you bring in several hundred at a time, and why they put fast passes on them, it didn't make logical sense.
Yeah, it really didn't.
They and they continued to do it, and then they did something really dumb when they changed things to Fast Pass Plus. They added Fast Pass to attractions that absolutely didn't need them, like Spaceship Earth and stuff like that. And
it was just. Oh, I'm sorry, Culture. I mean,
no. I'm just, like the one that, like the attraction that is the most dilapidated and destroyed because it's been reimagined a couple times now is Imagination. They put Fast Pass on the worst version of Imagination. Now, the first version of Imagination, I give you, if you back in the day, but not that.
That's the one I believe the missus keeps reminding me of. It's before the last one that was before this one. You had Figment now, then there was something that was really bad before Figment, but the really classic one was the original.
Yeah. I mean, you had Dreamfinder and Figment. Then you had like a weird, like crap version that happened, then a updated, slightly less crap version that we have now. That's kind of what happened there. And again, it's because they wanted to get rid of those carousels. With Dreamfinder, because they were difficult to maintain. The ride system was troubling, and they didn't want to have to rework the ride system in a way that preserved that stuff. And they really thought the attraction was too long at the same time. None of those things were true, but whatever. Anyway.
So part of it was that they thought the attraction was too long, like in terms of time of a ride.
Yeah. I mean, for example, like one other, I think really primarily, and you can believe that there's a sinkhole where Horizons was, and that that's not true because they built this giant freaking machines on that thing for the mission space. But anyway, Horizons was a very long attraction, and it took you in front of giant versions of early IMAX screens way back in the Panamax or whatever they were.
Yeah,
and you had it, just that thing was long as heck, and it was kind of a choose your own adventure ride because you got to, at the end of it, pick which where you were headed, space or the desert or the ocean or whatever. And that particular attraction was very, very long. And Universe of Energy was very, very long. Even the previous version was very, very long. Those moving theaters, those things, those are amazing tech. They were. I mean, that was a trackless ride system, for lack of a better way to describe it. So it's not like trackless ride systems are a foreign concept for Disney. They've been doing them for a long time. But then they had to go and reinvent the wheel and do them poorly. But anyway, these were all like 20-minute edutainment things that they came up with. And the idea was to, get people involved in Future World specifically in the things that they were trying to teach them and show them not just what was the current thing, but what was the future thing. And that, you went through the diorama with dinosaurs in Universe of Energy. And that last part of it was, the introduction of the new ideas behind energy. And largely, it turned out to be somewhat of an oil commercial. But for the most part, it was a conversation about what the potential of wind power was, what the potential of solar power was, what was some other upcoming energy technologies.
That would explain like in here with what we're going to be talking about with the Q theory and all this other stuff is because those longer rides affect the waiting times and everything else.
But they
so
did.
Of course, well, in their mind, I think that probably this mass produced, we got to make everything short to get people in and out and through. But I, like you, Culture, those rides meant something. That time meant something. They taught a lesson. It was more than just 90 seconds of quick, and entertainment, and you're out.
And honestly, and you're right there. I mean, it actually did something. You actually experienced each one of those things. There wasn't a line for Horizon. There wasn't a line for Universe of Motion or whatever it was called.
Universe of Energy. Yeah.
No. Oh, Universe of Energy. No, but but what was the one before we got Test Track? World of Motion.
World of Motion. I think. Yeah.
So in World of Motion, you had you had just amazing stuff already there, and there was room to do other things if you needed to add a new attraction. You didn't have to tear Horizon down to build Mission Space, and all of that. But these were things that took you. Horizon was an Omnimover, a hung overhead Omnimover attraction. That 15, 17, 20 minutes of your time you would spend in that, similar to the 22 minutes that you'd spend in Universe of Energy, similar to all of that. And the queues, because of these ways the tech and everything was managed, and Universe of Energy was treated like a show, you only had a 20-minute wait time before you loaded that entire building, that entire pre-show area onto those movie theaters, and then you just filled that back up. And so, that worked out really well. Omnimovers such as Spaceship Earth, you're loading people. You're loading 4 people every 8 seconds or something.
Constantly.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It is one of the highest capacity attractions there. Anything that Bob Gurr designed as an Omnimover of whatever kind is such a high density, high capacity attraction that there should never be a line. I mean, it's not like it's Peter Pan where it's like real slow loading, real slow unloading, limited amount of track space, limited building space, and all that. Peter Pan suffers from the fact that it's not an efficient load unload process, and they literally could speed it up, but they still have a ride operator sitting at the front end and the back end hitting a button to launch the vehicle. Anyway, it's a whole other conversation. But
it's a lot. So
I just wanted to throw one last thing, but the whole point with Epcot to us, our family, is like that. All that goes into the way Epcot has changed. Because even like the stuff in Future World that's gone, our kids grew up with the trash thing, the piggy bank, all that stuff. There was more educational teaching stuff like that, and it's like they took time and all, but now it's like it's moving to that quick stuff. I'm kind of thinking like this, bringing back Muppets 3D, where the engine Imagineers are like Sam the Eagle. This is going to be a glorious 3 hour celebration of salute to America, but mostly, all nations, but mostly America. And Kermit says, you got a minute and a half. So you gotta make it quick these days. So
which is a shame, because when I was a kid, one of the things that I loved going to Epcot was seeing all these experiences, and it wasn't really about the time. It was about the cool stuff that you got to, experience. Like with Universe of Energy, that was a whole experience. Riding, the fact that I'm riding on this vehicle that's powered by solar, and you're learning, about fossil fuels and how they came about and how we get it, energy conservation. It was all of these experiences. Even World of Motion, which for some reason I'm having a problem recalling exactly what it was, but it was fun just being there and experiencing that.
And I think one of the really neat aspects of it all is each of the pavilions that were proper pavilions had multiple things to do.
Yes.
You had innovations east and west, and as this is what Dadman was talking about, there was a lot of other entertainment
interventions.
It's entertainment things that were also very learning oriented. And then when you went into the Wonders of Life Pavilion, which was abused for many years as like the wine and food pavilion, and now is supposedly going to be some kind of Disney Plus.
I heard that got
game.
yanked. The
Yeah,
Play
I know it did.
Pavilion, whatever.
Project,
Yeah.
Play Pavilion got. But see that the first concept for Project Gamma wasn't the best, but it's far better than what we ended up with so far. But anyway, but the Wonders of Life had a Star Tours type of attraction called Body Wars.
Mhm.
Yes,
And
I remember Body Wars.
That was a lot of fun, and of course it had the food thing.
Food Rocks, which was, I think, was that in it? Yeah, Food Rocks.
Or no, maybe that was in Land. I don't know, but Living at the Land. Yeah, Living at the Land. But there was another one that was like that, like The Making of Me or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Buzzy was in there, right? And but there was so much stuff in each of these pavilions that you could do, and they were very entertaining. Even the aquarium back then was incredibly entertaining.
Yes, it was.
The ride. The ride wasn't really all that important. It was that you took the hydrolator. That's what it is. Yeah, I always forget the name. That was so cool, right? Going down, it's all fake, and then you'd be down there.
Which they replicated when you go to Escape from Gringotts.
Yep.
Over in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, when you're in the elevator.
Yeah.
Same effect. Same effect. Man, I tell you, there's so much stuff to talk. So much stuff to talk about.
We wandered well off the path.
Yeah, we did. Here we go again.
All we were trying to say was that even then they were struggling to put fast passes on attractions at the other parks because it wasn't like Magic Kingdom where they desperately needed them. So.
No, Epcot, you had plenty of space.
Disneyland Resort now had a total of 16 FastPass attractions. 9 at Disneyland, and 7 at California Adventure. The significant increase in FastPass attractions was due less to logistics and more to the monetary benefits of the system. During the late 90s and early 2000s, Paul Pressler, the chairman of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, had instituted slashing budgets across the board to increase profits.
Jerk.
Wow.
He's one of the reasons why you also ended up with a lot of park maintenance issues. Like, how you used to never see like fading paint or light bulbs that were out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This was one of the first guys to screw that up, and the fast passes were definitely about increasing profits. But, for as much as we hate on this guy, Pressler, we should hate more on Iger because he and Chapek gamed the system even worse. So anyway, I'll shut up. Just not a fan of Paul Pressler.
No, the more I hear about him.
At the same time, Pressler, whose background was in retail, dramatically increased.
But it's funny. You got a retail guy doing something that's more.
Quick fix in many
his
ways.
Job should be selling stuff.
Promise to get guests out of line and into gift
not
shop.
queuing people.
FastPass itself could be marketed far and wide as if it were a new attraction during a time when Disney didn't have anything else to promote.
And to talk about the merchandising, I do remember that it seemed like the merchandise just exploded.
Oh yeah.
With the type of stuff. I mean, in my family, it didn't really matter because it's like, okay, we don't have a whole lot of money for like merchandise or stuff like that, but it was very noticeable. It used to be, okay, you're on the ride, dumps you in a gift shop. Yeah, we already know that. But then it was just like merchandise everywhere, kiosk, card, just every freaking where you turn, there was merchandise.
Yeah, and the funny thing is this what he's saying right now is absolutely true. The FastPass was marketed everywhere, almost as much as DVC was marketed everywhere, and it was done because hey, did you know about FastPass? Well, only a moron doesn't know about FastPass. I mean, if you've been there more than once, and it's on the map. Do you remember how many times you saw FastPass on the map?
They even marked it with certain on the front, on the back, labeled on all of the rides.
But apparently,
every Disney commercial that way would run. Even when I was a kid living in Philly, you saw ads for FastPass.
Yep.
But apparently, there were still people that didn't get the message, and we'll find out in the video. I don't know how you can miss it. It's just like you said.
A period of time in the mid-2000s, FastPass was used as a perk vacation packages.
I got to agree with this one. Yes. The mid-2000s, I want to say that's when I started using a travel agent, Disney travel agent. That was always it. Well, you get the FastPass, the vacation, FastPass, isn't this great? You have all of this, all of this together.
And you could game that system pretty well. I mean, you know, you had, you know, commando runs that we talk about where you run across through this thing, but you could literally plan your entire day knowing, you know, kind of what the busy attractions were. It's always clear what those are. Usually what would normally be the D and E ticket attractions are going to be the ones that are going to pull the most crowd. So you could literally plan your day. So you'd be like, okay, we're going to get a fast pass over here, but that means we're handing all of our tickets or all of our passes to one person. They're going to run and do that and meet us over at Pirates so that we can get on Pirates first thing. And then, you know, and then we'll do Haunted Mansion. Then we'll backtrack and do Big Thunder. And by then we can go back and we can do, you know, Space Mountain. And, you know, it was just, it's kind of how you planned. And then you kind of did that throughout the day so that once you got your fast pass and you burned through it, you would go get another one so that you could continue to plot your day so that you got through most things and you still were able to plan time for food. The system got more complicated because guests got more savvy to it. Then you got, you know, they weren't seeing the kind of returns they wanted, you know, from the marketing of the fast pass idea to like get people to, you know, spend more time in shops and restaurants because people were using the system more efficiently, which, you know, if you're a theme park person, that's the idea. But if you're, you know, if you're a theme park company, you want people to just spend money and not get everything that they want to get done. And which is funny because there's pretty evil about trying to not let you succeed in getting all the attractions done.
Well, you know, it's interesting being local and not having used the travel agents and stuff. I really didn't have a clue that that was going on back then. So that's interesting to see that in essence you were competing against an unknown demand on the supply that you never knew that was there. Because there were times it was hard to get the fast passes. You could show up at 9 o'clock and someone would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the more popular rides. And I didn't realize that we were competing against the travel packages either. So this is interesting what they showed in this video.
Yeah, because what I would do with my vacation is just say, what's a fast pass? Hey, Stunning and Brave Megatron. Basically, it's a ticket to get in a separate line at a certain time so you could get onto that ride like priority entrance. So instead of like, say, dropping by to ride at like 8 a.m. and there's all these people, get a fast pass, says, hey, come back at 2 o'clock and we'll just put you in a separate line and get you on there faster. So that's basically the basic idea of it. And when I would plan trips, Culture is right. When you're used to fast pass, you would plan your day, but you would make efficient use of the system. What's the most popular ride? Okay, guess what? We're hitting that one first thing in the morning. We're going to get a fast pass for this other particular attraction later on in the day or at a better time or whatever. You're hitting all the rides that you want using the fast pass for other attractions. Like there's some rides where it's like, okay, we knew if it was less than a 20-minute wait, it was not worth getting a fast pass for. That's kind of like, you know, a waste of time to do that. But if you were like, hey, let's do Space Mountain, like, you know, later at night, you would have a guaranteed fast pass for that time. So you could do other things during the day, or basically say, you know what, we're spending this half a day at the pool, get up late, have a late lunch, go to the park in the evening, and we have our fast pass already for that. So yeah, you would get so adept at using it. There were books about it. I was in Disney travel groups, bulletin boards, you know, groups on websites online where that's all we did was like say, what's your plan for the day? Get fast passes. This is how you get a fast pass. This is how you make the most efficient use of fast passes. Even the thing where, hey, Jeffrey Nelson, even the thing where I think you could only hold 3 fast passes at one time, but so long as you used one of them, after, you know, you used one of them, you could go back and get one for another ride. So usually they had a runner that would do that. Someone in the family who would go and do that.
Which system?
FastPass, the paper one.
The legacy system?
Yeah.
You can only hold one at a time.
No. When things timed out, you could get others.
Yeah.
You didn't have to.
That's true, but yeah, you would have to actually be aware that was happening.
I actually had it timed out where I could have fast passes for 3 different rides properly.
You're talking about inside the window.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like going, wait a minute. You could only have one at a time that would
Right.
be active. Okay, I feel you.
Right.
Okay. All right. No.
I watched those times, Culture.
Sorry, I was in commando mode right there.
Hey!
Yeah,
When
I'm
that
like, wait a
window
minute.
said 11 o'clock, I was there at 11:01 on the next ride to get the
Yep.
next fast pass.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you really could game the system, and you guys are 100% right. But yeah, you could definitely be bouncing through your day really, really well.
Yeah, but they don't want you
Man,
doing
especially in
that.
California. California had the best because it's not as spread out as Florida, at least at Magic Kingdom. At Disneyland, you could just blaze your entire day through Disneyland with FastPass. You could be done. You could do all 65 attractions between the two parks in one day. If you were full on commando and got there right at the beginning, right at rope drop, and you could even probably leave before midnight and you could do the entire both parks, all 65 attractions in 2 days. It's in one day, in one 24-hour period. So yeah. And if you were insane, you could actually ride all the mountains in Florida, get on a plane and ride all the mountains in California in one day.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah.
that would be.
Yeah.
That seems
It's so
crazy
cool
for
if
me.
you could do it.
I did it.
I thought riding the Incredible Hulk 10 times in one not day was something, but yeah, that would be crazy.
It was insane. But I planned it to do that way.
Yeah.
Commando. Yeah, y'all are making fun of me.
Yeah.
Basically, you plan as if you're invading a small country.
Yeah.
When it comes to planning for Disney. Yeah, we don't hang around. We have a bona fide plan to go for it.
Namely ones booked through AAA, which allowed guests access to what was referred to as Enhanced FastPass, which removed the 2-hour limit on guest tickets, allowing them to obtain as many FastPasses as available, with the only restriction being that they could not receive multiple passes for the same attraction.
I had heard of that with
AAA.
AAA.
With this, guests could enter Disneyland Park in the morning, obtain a FastPass for every FastPass attraction in the park, exit Disneyland Park, walk over to California Adventure,
I just mentioned this.
FastPass for every FastPass attraction at that park, and now, holding 16 FastPasses, have the best day ever, with the only downside being that they now have to experience 7 attractions at a mid-2000s California Adventure.
Which was terrible.
Now, yes. For those of you who are in Florida who don't quite get that, okay, literally, and Culture was talking about this, and I've experienced it, so cosign. Disneyland and California Adventure are just a short walk away.
Yeah, the plaza.
If I remember correctly, there's only their version of Disney Springs that's between the two.
Oh, it's 85 to 100 yards between the plazas that wide. So you literally are walking less than the length of a football field to move from Disneyland's front gate to California Adventure's front gate.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I could do that. I'm like, what?
Yep.
That sounds like it's even shorter than what the closest thing we have here is like at Universal, between Islands of Adventure and Universal is that little crossover there.
Yeah.
But even then, that's still not as close as that. Jeez.
Well, it's pretty wild. Yeah, and when you look at this, right? Okay, so we're from the perspective on the top of what's now the Pixar Pier Hotel. That's where I think this is, well, at least that's kind of where this looks like it's being shot from. Maybe not. But just to the south of the frame here would be the California Adventure Hotel, the Grand Californian Hotel. If you stayed at the Grand Californian Hotel, you could actually go through a special entrance directly into California Adventure. So if you stayed in the Grand Californian, they have their own private theme park entrance that comes out of the hotel, goes right into the area, leading you right into Bear Country, which is here. Or excuse me, Grizzly, whatever this is, Grizzly, whatever the heck it's called. My goodness, my brain's melted. But yeah, this was a very interesting time, and really that was one of the advantages of staying at that hotel was your ability to get on this attraction when it first got up and running. It was pretty cool. So,
The over-implementation of FastPass did exactly what Stafford had predicted, and walkways at the parks were more congested than ever. This was especially noticeable at Disneyland, which is a much smaller park in comparison to the Magic Kingdom. The
Right.
park was designed to have people waiting in line, but now, with most attractions using FastPass, guests found themselves waiting 3 to 6 people, all
Wow.
waiting for their return time to arrive. Also, standby waits for high-capacity attractions, such as Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion, were noticeably increased with FastPass.
Now I did notice that at Disney World when that happened, when they implemented FastPass. Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, really long lines. But Culture, have you seen it that congested at Disneyland with the FastPass? I didn't even know about that.
Not really. I mean, Disneyland was my home park back then. There were summertime crowds that would get out of hand where it felt like you were in a subway station. Yeah. Grizzly Peak. But honestly, I don't ever recall it being as bad as like being in in the area around the new Star Wars area. I don't remember it being quite that crowded, because when Galaxy Edge first opened, it was chaos, shoulder to shoulder humans. So
yeah, I've never seen Galaxy's Edge crowded like that. I have seen Toy Story Land jam packed full of people. Nobody's trying to leave there.
Yeah, that's the other problem. But no, I don't recall that. But again, I was younger then, so I probably didn't care as much.
I hear you. Cavatano, not with respect to access to FastPass, but if you do have someone in the family who's like active duty or veterans, there definitely are discounts.
There are perks.
And yeah, there are perks. You get your own resort, actually. Shades of Green.
Yeah,
at Disney World, which is gorgeous.
That's a unique place to stay, especially if you're a golfer. So if you
right there near the golf course.
That's right.
It really is. It really is. That would be interesting if they did put like if anybody got to Australia first, it'd probably be Universal rather so than Disney. But Universal's pretty freaking awesome.
Disney.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, I was just going to say Disney's been missing the boats, to be honest with you, when it comes to the international theme park business. I think largely because they had such a poor experience in Europe. But Australia would be a good choice. Universal's figured it out. They're like, oh, you know what? Disney was going to do a park in the middle of the country. We're going to do a park in the middle of the country. We're going to put a boutique park, Hollywood Horror Nights, permanently in Vegas. We're going to start looking in other countries and other continents to do things. So I think you're going to see Universal spread out and Disney go, oh, crap, we should have done this, and try to play catch up. But anyway, sorry. More on this guy that I hate. Yay.
Yeah.
Where he would also serve as CEO.
Because he became a model.
Chairman of Disneyland Paris,
a male model.
When Ursula and management took over, they reevaluated Disneyland's FastPass system, determining that the best solution was to begin removing FastPasses from certain attractions. At Disneyland, Pirates of the Caribbean,
which would make sense,
and Star Tours had its FastPass kiosks removed, and Haunted Mansion's FastPass would only be utilized for Haunted Mansion Holiday. In California Adventure, It's Tough to Be a Bug and Muppet Vision had their FastPasses removed as well.
Which makes sense because with the same thing, like with It's Tough to Be a Bug, PhilharMagic, Muppets 3D, that theater holds like, I think like what, about 500, close to 500 people.
It's a huge crowd.
Tons
of
folks.
Massive humans. Yeah.
And the pre-stage area is huge too. So
yes.
Yeah, and that was the coolest thing, right? Is they remembered how to do like a pre-show stage area, and then do it like, which would soak up people from outside to get into the air conditioning, and then they would move them into another room, and so theoretically you'd have like 1,000 people in the attraction building, and just keep cycling 500 every 15 minutes, and that's pretty good capacity and pass-throughs. So not bad if you look at it queuing theory.
Yeah, especially considering how many things they had for you to look at and experience. And Muppets 3D is the best example from this. All the sight gags that they have in there, the pre-show that they have, like, on the screens. I don't think I've seen all the sight gags yet, and I've been through that attraction. I don't know how many times, but the queue was so detailed that it makes it feel like part of the experience. So you don't, even if you've been waiting, you don't have to wait for very long. Maybe like 20 minutes is probably the longest that I've waited, because I got to the first holding area early. But yes, some of these rides do not. Some of these attractions do
eventually,
not
the
need
Haunted
fast
Mansion at the
pass.
Magic Kingdom would have its FastPass removed. While FastPass worked well on some
Right.
Now it's
rides, it did
Genie
increase
Plus.
customer
Now it's the Lightning
satisfaction
Lane.
significantly. The over-implementation within the first few years of its debut seemed to be clear proof that it was a bad idea to put FastPass everywhere.
Yeah, I want to know who thought this was a good idea. Put fast passes everywhere. Yes, and I believe that this is when they started putting fast passes for the parades, for meet and greets. What else? Fireworks viewing. Like every single freaking thing. There was like a fast pass everywhere. That's crazy.
Put fast. Well, that's one of the things as an attender that we thought was odd when we went back and we started seeing the fast pass in those areas, especially the character greetings. Character greetings were always one of those, you just suck it up, wait in line, and you deal with it. But because we were from the type of family that wanted to maximize the rides, character greetings are cool and added bonuses, but it's a trade-off. Why would I use a fast pass for a character meet and greet?
Which makes zero sense, because when I was planning trips, never used a fast pass for a character meet and greet. You know what our character meet and greet was? Character meals. That was our character meet and greet, because at least you could have a meal, knock out several character meets that you needed, and that you didn't even have to leave your table. They came to you. So it was relaxing. You're in the air conditioning, you meet the characters, interact with them, and you're done, as opposed to getting a fast pass to just wait in line. It just wasn't, it was not a very efficient use at all.
Unless you ran out of fast passes that you could give, so you started scraping the barrel to keep everybody hooked. So,
well, this is a very interesting part of the video to pay attention to. Doesn't this man look familiar?
I know. Who is he, by the way? He's not a male model, is he?
No. No. But his wife, Aunt Willow, she was also a weather person.
Okay.
Oh.
Willow Bay. Uncle Bob and Aunt Willow.
Wow.
That name sounds familiar.
Been 2 years since Bob Iger became the CEO of Disney after an embattled Michael Eisner resigned. FastPass has just turned 8 years old, and Jay Rasulo is still heading the parks division. It has also been recently announced that Disney was patenting a technology that would utilize a centralized computer system to manage FastPass tickets throughout Walt Disney World and Disney.
This makes me mad looking at it, knowing how it got implemented, or should I say, the way it wasn't optimally implemented.
And Disneyland, allowing guests to obtain fast passes from their mobile devices, which at the time looked like this. So most of the plans relied on sending text messages to guests. The patent application also stated that the new system could allow, quote, spending per guest at hotels to determine hierarchies of access to FastPass.
Now that I did not know.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where this was nearly implemented for real. We almost actually got this. So if you were staying in a deluxe resort, you would have, nearly unlimited fast passes. If you were staying in, the mid-level tier, it was, you were limited to like 10, per day. And if you were in a value resort, it was like 4 or 5. I mean, that was the plan, is to like try to get people to upgrade. So that created a hierarchy or a class system in Disney. At the time, they went, that doesn't really work. But anyway, we'll keep going. But yeah.
Disney stated publicly that they had no plans to change FastPass at the moment,
Of
merely
course.
that they were monitoring how to take advantage of technological developments. However, within the company, executives were formulating plans for a massive project in complete secrecy. In 2007, Jay Rasulo and 4 other senior Disney Parks officials formed an
There we go.
exploratory committee to determine how the ongoing technological revolution could reinvent the guest experience. Like Walt Disney and Imagineers in the 1960s and like Bruce Laval in the 1990s, discussions once again centered on how to improve crowd control and wait times. The group was exploring multiple concepts when one member had an epiphany. While on a flight, VP of Business Development John Padgett was browsing through the in-flight magazine Sky when he came across a magnetic wristband that promised to improve balance and reduce joint pain. This was, of course, a scam.
That looks a
but it
little
gave
familiar,
Padgett an
doesn't
idea.
it?
What if Disney park guests had their own wristband that contained technology that they could use around the park? It would be like a magic wristband. So naturally, they called it the Experience Band, or X-Band for short.
Or what I like to call the house arrest bracelet, or because that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
You had this band, that you put on and tied to your reservations, your ticket, your at the time PIN code. When you would have like a card attached to your account, use it to open your room door, all of that. But it was not flawless. It was not flawless. I ran into so many problems with this.
It's like everything, it's all fun and games till something breaks down or somebody gets hurt. But, ideally when it's working functional, it was great. You could leave your wallet locked in your safe. You didn't have to worry about it. It was fine as long as it didn't fall off on the ride or something. But, but like you said, nothing's fallible. And when you have problems is when you really experience the downside of it.
Yeah. Because with mine, I had my vacation, paid for everything, all set. They said, "Oh, you can just use your van, go to the park, use your dining package, all of that." Turns out I could get into the park, but you know what? I couldn't use my dining plan to pay for my meal with my magic van. I'm like, okay, that's not very convenient.
Yeah, I often castigated people when they were like, I was like, what's the point of this magic band if I still have to have my wallet and all my crap with me?
Right.
I mean, they had a lot of fatal flaws. And by the way, they already had your my brain is not working. They already had your identity. They'd already either taken a picture of your face or taken your fingerprint or both, especially if you're a pass holder. The first time you use your magic band at a park, they have a fingerprint reader in Florida that you had to put your finger on and every single time going forward. So they already had your identity. They already had your biometrics. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
And so it was ridiculous. It's like it's the same thing in California. I'm like, you have my picture because it's on my pass. I mean, duh.
And they still use it.
Yep.
They still use it. Even though I have the Magic Band Plus thing down here, every time I go into the park, got to use a biometric thing, which doesn't always work.
No. Oh, the biometric things go down all the time. Sometimes no matter what you do, you put your finger on that thing in your band, even if you don't have a pass or a ticket, it's going to light up green and you can go because the system's down. Park wide, it happens like regularly, folks. This is not unusual. Their technology is a lot of failure points. Even back then at the original legacy FastPasses, all those systems were connected at that time. They all talked to each other, but there were times when you could literally get a FastPass, put your ticket back in, get another FastPass, put your ticket back in. You could go anywhere and get it because the system was broken and they still needed to issue FastPasses. They still needed to do all of this. But yeah, and then there was a period of time that when they were introducing this idea, the FastPass, that there was a select number of test guests, especially if you were in a deluxe resort or a DVC person, where you would get a test magic band shipped to you for free. And you literally could use your magic band to get a FastPass, obviously the FastPass Plus, and you could get a legacy ticket if you had a ticket, like a physical ticket or your park pass. So if you had your park pass and you had your magic band, you could get 3 that would be pre-planned throughout the day, and you could go and get the legacy system. So you would double up on it. Anyway, long story.
Wow. It's not.
The team opened a testing space for X-Band in the abandoned Body Wars attraction in the Wonders of Life Pavilion at Epcot. After
I
an
like the
ideation
Body
phase,
Wars
Disney CEO Bob Iger was
attraction.
given a
That was
tour where the
fun.
team explained their idea for the X-Band. Their proposal was to house an RFID tag inside the band that would allow guests to interact with touch points throughout the park. The X-Band could act as guest park tickets or their hotel room keys. They could even use it as a credit card. When Iger was shown the technology, he was impressed enough to give the project a proper budget. In 2008, development officially began on Disney Next Gen Experience.
Oh,
And
this
Oh, Lord, I freaking hated this thing.
and Disney and this project got multiple people fired. Anyway,
It to show the difference. Okay, I had taken a trip, I think one before this next gen experience was implemented, so everything was cool. This next gen experience was so bad. My travel agent was complaining about it. She was just like, this is the most half-assed thing I'd ever seen. And they had a hell of a time trying to come up with something to let their clients know how to use this thing.
Yeah, and it was worse if you were working on it on the inside, because the front end was broken for it and didn't work reliably, and even like code fix implementation would actually break something else. They couldn't change because you have a lot of old technology, a lot of somewhat analog technology still to this very day. They cobbled systems together, different mainframes talking to, some things that were run on Apple, or, some things that were run on old HP. And so, it was a hodgepodge of just garbage. Right. And they had to make like ways to just kind of cobble it all together so it would talk to each other so that they could implement this thing. And then they got halfway through all of that, and then they had to scrap a lot of it to rebuild it. And in fact, it cost them far more than the quote unquote, reasonable budget that we just introduced that idea. To this day, the believed cost is over $2 billion. The acknowledged cost is a little over $1 billion. So I'm just saying, this thing was a trash fire.
It was, yeah, Jerry Mendoza. Yes, it was literally that bad. You want to know how bad this system is? This is the system that forever stamped Disney IT as the worst in IT circles. I mean, anytime there was an example that you had to give of IT not working, 9 times out of 10, it was Disney or the federal government, but usually Disney. Like people like me who were engineers, when we had to run into this, it's just like, you got to be kidding me that this doesn't work. And it was mega frustrating.
In the last month, they've had 3 major issues. 2 of you, which you probably heard about in like the regular entertainment press, because it's like they're constantly breaking their crap. It's insane. If they had gone out and just replaced all of the systems and just modernized everything at once, they would have been better off.
Modern age. This encompassed multiple strategies, ranging from reinventing the way guests order food at the parks to experimenting with different queue types to increase guest enjoyment while in line. Perhaps the most ambitious part of Next Gen was My Magic Plus, a complete overhaul of Walt Disney World's technological infrastructure and the introduction of a new website and mobile application.
My Magic Minus.
That website.
Everything they do, they just call it Plus. Same name Plus, same name, like you say, Culture. It comes out as minus in the end.
It was.
Go
ahead, Culture.
No, it's just, and the biggest complaint that anybody who went there regularly would have for this was that what do you mean you're limiting the number of fast passes I can get? But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, limiting the amount of fast passes, but yeah, I'll talk.
Get the magic of the parks right at your fingertips.
Wait, what is this?
Thanks to Disney Parks.
This is not my Magic Plus. I don't know what this is.
Introducing Mobile Magic.
This is another
A
segue.
magical
I had
app that will
no
turn
idea
your
what this
Verizon
mobile magic
phone
thing
into-
was.
Exclusive to Verizon.
I didn't even
Super
know
easy
about
to
it
use.
until
Just touch
Defunctland put it in
characters.
here.
Look, Mickey
Ah.
out just down.
Oh gosh, I forgot about this. Okay, so real quick, in 2009, Disney and Verizon partnered on a new mobile app named Mobile Magic that allowed guests to see a map.
Now
of the
I
park,
do
view
remember
show
this
times,
because
and
I didn't
play
have
trivia for
Verizon, so I didn't
$9.99
care.
every 180 days. Jeez.
Yeah.
And you had to send a text message to download the app.
Short
Most
answer,
impressive,
Jerry,
The app
no.
allowed users to view wait times and FastPass return times from their phone with real-time information from the park's computer system. They could not book or view their FastPasses from the app, but this was still a powerful tool for the time, and it had a valuable feature. Guests could now balk at an attraction's wait time from the other side of the park. Understanding the power the app had
It's
over
got the
guest
original
decisions,
droid.
Disney began to inflate posted wait times to point guests in certain.
We keep telling you about this.
Yeah. Oh
How
wow.
about
You know,
wait times.
yeah. Wow. We need to drive traffic to the restaurants, or we need to drive traffic by these stores. So we're going to inflate the wait time for, let's say, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, right? We need to get people from, New Fantasyland. So let's push them back either to Ariel, or let's drive them over to, to Tomorrowland. They can control traffic that way.
Well, see, and one of the things, like I said, we always were the writer focused family. And there were so many times when we looked at those daggum times, we made our decisions based off that. And so many times when we were close to like a Splash Mountain or a big ride, we said, what the heck, we do it. And then when we get off, it's like, that wasn't 90 minutes. I mean, it was less. So you got to the point where you questioned any of the wait times, or it said 60 minutes, you walk by, it's almost like a 30-minute, you can observe when you at the parks enough, you can tell how long the wait is. And it's like, that's not a 60-minute. So we get in it 30 minutes later, and it's cool understanding now that a lot of it is misoginations, and they've been trying to fix things to direct what you want to do. When I go to the theme park, I don't care what they want. It's what I want to do, what my family wants to do, but, question those wait times is a big thing. But thanks for that insight, Culture, because that's interesting looking back now on those experiences, having this ability to look backwards and with your knowledge on that. It's very interesting.
Well, one of the ways they started to really track the guest wait times was using an RFID card that they would ask you to put around your neck.
Yeah, the card on the
shoestring remember those. They really haven't been doing that anymore, and just estimating what a wait time would be. One of the ideas was they wouldn't have to do that ever again, because they'd be able to scan a guest position in line using radial telemetry reflection from your Magic Band, basically reading your RFID from across like the way. So like when you pass under certain checkpoints in the park, it knows you went by that area. They worked with some government agencies on that, as a matter of fact, and that's a whole other conversation to get into. But when you, like I said, when you entered the line for Spaceship Earth, they basically could have tracked every single guest from beginning to end of that line to the time they got on the attraction, to the time they got off their attraction, the time they left the building. And that would have given them like real insight, but none of the promise of this system and some of the tech that actually exists is never been utilized. It's insane. They spent ridiculous amounts of money. There's like these really interesting band readers that are installed at the turnstile locations in all the parks that were there to make it so essentially at a given point in time, you wouldn't necessarily have to tap into the park. You would be able to just kind of go through. It was they had a lot of really aggressive ideas. None of them ever came to fruition, but it is what it is. So.
I will tell you that, and it's interesting, Culture, that you mentioned that about the tracking. There's a reason that I call it like the house arrest bracelet. Numerous times when I have pulled up to, the gate, where you supposedly scan your, get your parking, parking ticket. I have a Magic Band. Okay. So they can scan that, right? There have been times where I have driven up there and they basically said, pass holder, okay, have a magical day. That has happened on several occasions. So I'm just like, I know you're tracking me. I know I'm coming. There's no other reason for that. So
It happens. It happens, and again, I mean, they also scan your license plate if you're driving a vehicle. So if you have a rental vehicle or your own personal vehicle, anytime you pass through one of those locations, parking at the parks, parking at a resort, whatever, they're just monitoring that license plate. I mean, it's all done. It's been done there since the implementation of this stuff. But what's funny is it fails so often. They have to go back to the lowest common denominator, which is that stupid RFID chip in that band, which is why they're trying to phase it out and make you use your phone, because it's a more reliable way to track you.
Yeah.
They're very China oriented, folks.
It was tough enough for me to adjust to the Magic Band, but my phone, no. I mean, it's like work tracking you. No, it's my phone. Leave me alone. The Magic Band, fine. I got it through you, whatever, fine. But you don't need my access to my personal, the life, since we have so much on these phones nowadays that are personal.
Exactly. And that's why I love it when they say, oh, we're doing these reservations to maximize the guest experience. No, you're not. You're data mining with that sucker. And it's very obvious that that's what they're doing. But to kind of go back to with this next gen system when it was implemented, again, back to my travel agent, when she told me what I had to do just to reserve FastPass Pluses on the website, which already had problems. She'd warned me about this. You're like, okay, I'm going to give you fast passes. Okay, so I can get my 3 fast passes in advance for, like, say, Magic Kingdom. Okay, so I want Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion, and Splash Mountain. No, you can't get all 3 of those together. You can only select one from those higher, like the E-ticket rides, and then the rest of them were like the C, D, and F ones.
And that
so
really
you couldn't do that.
Really pissed me off.
I was so pissed and angry. And, my travel agent, she was just like, she'd never had so many complaints about this system when Next Gen officially got implemented. It was the worst trip in planning. I'd never had that much of a problem planning trips, and the Disney boards were lit up. They're just like, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't have to do all this work just to plan a vacation and just to have a good time. And now we have FastPass. You have this FastPass Plus. Now you're telling us which ones we aren't allowed to get more than one for. So you wind up getting fast passes for crap you don't want.
Well, the fallacy, the whole thing is this corporate mindset of, we know what's good for you. We're going to maximize expectation. You don't know what my expectations are. Lorena, you and I have been to theme parks together. Your expectations are different than mine. I mean, we're similar, but, 2 people are not going to be the same. And for them to presume that they know what will make a great family expectation for us is wrong, because I'm different than somebody else. We're the riders. We're not planning on shopping on souvenirs. We'll eat as we need to, but, to presume that I won't, give me Space Mountain, Splash Mountain, Thunder Mountain. Those are the fast passes I want. I want to get them as much and as often as I can. Toy Story Mania, Slinky Dog, even if I get to get it open, I mean, I want the option to make my own experience, to get my own value. And I'm the judge of what works best for me and my family. And I agree that this assumption, they can't rightfully maximize everybody's experience, and yet they talk like that they can do it, or they're trying to do it one size fits all, and it's just not possible. So what's the ultimate end? I think, like you said, we want to get more about you so that we can keep marketing and retailing and stuff to you, and it's bad enough, and every business does it. but you
Well,
don't expect that with something you're going willingly to spend lots of money to, spending your time to. And it's just like, let me control my own destiny, my own experience.
when you buy something, and this is kind of their thing. When you buy something and you're walking around with a Disney bag in a theme park, you are likely to be approached and asked, "Oh, hey, would you like to take a survey?"
Mm-hmm.
Because they want to find out what your experience was. So when you start to fill out the survey, they add that to whatever the tracking data was on the Magic Band when you were in the shops and everywhere else you were for the day, kind of to get an idea of what people are, willing to buy in the theme parks while they're doing on all these experiences. Because there are experiences you can't take, stuff on. Like, I mean, you can't take stuff on Guardians of the Galaxy coaster. You can't. It doesn't work. Yeah, there's a few things you can't take, stuff on, but not as many as like Universal. That's why Universal has lockers. So.
Yeah, you can't, and you'd probably wind up losing it if you did. But Dad Man's absolutely right. It's like it used to be. Disney was, hey, here's a great way to have a great time, no matter what your group is that's going. That's why the planning DVDs were so cool, because they had the person who planned if you were a family, if you had a large group, or if you had, really young children. And all they did was basically show, hey, this is ways that you could customize your experience that's great for you. And this is what Disney has in place for you to maximize your vacation. So they've gone from that message to, we know what's best for you. And it's really insulting. It's like Disney doesn't, well, they probably don't. Disney doesn't trust you to make your own vacation. Hence Disney Plus, not Disney Plus, excuse me, Genie Plus. I refuse to use Genie Plus to plan, quote unquote, plan your day. That day plan is not in your best interest.
Well, the whole thing, I know that everything's changed since 2020 and weird things have happened. But this whole concept of being an annual pass holder, one of the best things that I had before was the freedom to bounce to when I wanted to, where I wanted to at any time.
Absolutely.
That was the beauty of it. But when you start, and I don't know, at least I'm kind of the type of person, when you start limiting what I can do, I'm going to kick back a little bit. I pay the money willingly, whatever. Let me be free to do it, and it just seems like the move is to being more restrictive than it is to open up freedom and freedom of opportunities to do stuff. And
absolutely. When I'm at Disney, it seems like they're trying to restrict me. And when they do that, I'm not really apt to open up my wallet. Universal, they're basically like, come on in and have fun. And I'm trying to keep my wallet shut.
I know.
It's not working.
Yeah.
It's just not. There's so much stuff. And, they've always had their express pass system that you pay for. That's no secret. Everybody knows that it's there. But without it,
you still
you can still do stuff.
Yeah.
It's something else. Logic's Finest says, I loved Epcot as a kid. I went before and after Epcot opened. As an adult, it wasn't fun, but my daughter had a blast. Universal Studios is my next trip if I ever go to a park again. Dude, you should definitely hit up Universal in Orlando, especially when Epic Universe opens. They're making so much progress on Super Nintendo World. Woo!
I love his point right there, though, that Logic's Finest loved Epcot as a kid, because my kids, I never liked Epcot. I thought it was, give me Test Track and Mission Space. That was it. Maybe food. But my kids surprised the heck out of me. I thought they would only want Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, but they loved Epcot with cannot say it again, how innovations of all things and the other stuff up in that area. It's interesting to see when adults says that. I can understand how the adults the adults go for the wine and cheese the wine festival, the flower festivals, and all that stuff. But I think that's very interesting seeing that reaction.
It is, for me as a kid going to Epcot. It is what made science come alive for me. And a lot of my other friends, when they would go to Epcot and come back, they talk about all the cool stuff that they saw. We talk about it, in science class. And that was like the thing, to do. It was, as culture has said repeatedly, edutainment. It's like you pretty much got fooled in a way
Yeah.
of learning stuff, especially in Spaceship Earth. Like when you go in that
Learning
section
through
that has all of
communication.
these cool things, rearranging bones together, putting organs in,
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
right place.
Yeah, and the post-ride stuff there. But even the attraction itself was all about the history and communication through time.
Yes.
And I mean, there was a lot to it. I mean, look, there wasn't anything there in Future World that wasn't tied to learning something, really. And whether it be history or history and science, or history and science and the future projections for things, you were learning something, right? You learned who invented these things. You learned who, it essentially was using, these technologies and stuff like that, and how we were going to use them in the future. It was very cool.
Extremely, extremely cool. Extremely cool. Well, let's see. I think we made 8 minutes.
We got close.
We got close, and according to the poll, let's see, will we get through 10 minutes of Defunctland video tonight? 35% said yes, 19% said no, and 47% said at least y'all tried.
That's right. They know us well.
Very, very, very well. So yes, folks, we're going to be doing this for 2 more weeks. Delving it, there's so many interesting nuggets in here, and it kind of gives you a better idea of like Disney's thought process in a way behind this, and the history of FastPass, and just general reflection on how the parks have changed.
And we haven't even got to Tom Staggs and all of his fun.
Ooh, lots more fun coming up.
All right. Hey, and if you want something that'll blow your mind, wait till they do the simulation. Ooh.
Yes.
That's going to be heavy, hardcore stuff. The Culture and Lorena are going to be off the charts. You think we're moving slow? Wait till we hit that section. These two experts. Oh, there's so much for them to say.
Q theory.
QE theory. Yep. Interesting. Very, very interesting thing, especially having to do stuff in college. And basically they said, guess what? We're going to take you guys to Epcot, and you're going to observe queuing in practice. I'm like, oh, okay. This is fun. Well, first of all, I want to thank Dad Man Walking for being here, and I want to thank Culture Casino for being here and hanging out tonight at the show. I love it. Love having you guys here. Dad Man, shout out your channel, please, and what you have coming up.
All right. Well, I keep it simple. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It's all Dad Man Walking 55. It's easy for me to remember too. We're at 175 subs, so nice. I take all the subs. Want to get to 200 quickly because we just celebrated our 100th a couple months ago and had a big 24-hour stream. So always having Lorena. I've had Lorena Culture on before for some football shows and hope to have them again coming up in the future on other things. But in the meantime, what I have mostly this month and into April on Monday nights, we're following March Madness. And if you follow NCAA college basketball, it has been a wild ride. And it looks like Fairleigh Dickinson is also trying to make it even wilder tonight. So join us on Monday nights at 7 p.m. for March Madness. We call it Monday Madness. On Friday nights, we're covering the XFL. Whoopa Troopa and I are talking about some spring football. Love football. But I'm not just football. I do a lot of Fortnite streams, not Fortnite either. I've got other varied gamings. The best way to keep up with me is on my Twitter at DadmanWalking55 to find out what's the latest. This week, though, couple special events. Tuesday night, I have date night Fortnite with Mrs. Dadman Walking, where two of us just go and hang out and we chill out, and I get lost half the time, and she's reminding me where to go. and on Wednesday night, I'm starting a new segment. Hopefully it goes forward, called At the Movies. This week, my guest will be Daisy Blossom Flower Child, and we're going to look at the early Terminator movies, 1 and 2, maybe 3. Nice. And talk about what we liked and didn't like and stuff like that. And on the, let's see, and I got since we're going to be doing this a few weeks, I'll wait for down the road. But the missus and I have another detour with the Dadmans coming up where we travel to mine and Lorena's commonplace Palaca, Florida. We did that. We did a trip down there, featured that. We've done a tour of a lot of the Civil War battlefields that we've been to and left off 12. So check out the channel for stuff like that. Go look at the old videos. And like I said, even Culture and Lorena were on some of the football. Go back, look at the old stuff. Just watch the part with the guests because there's a lot of great stories in there. So thank you, Lorena. And thank you, Lorena, for her support for my channel. Culture, too, have both been great encouragers and support. And it was great to meet you guys back in October, too. Thank you all.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Culture, what you got going on?
I've got my late night show in about an hour. I have my daily or weekday show that I do every morning, the 6-minute daily. Tuesdays and Thursdays get bonus time, which means I go an hour longer than 6 minutes.
Wow.
So well, and by the way, the 6-minute daily show is about 12 and a half minutes long now. So I'm doing good. Very long. But a lot of that's just saying hi to everybody because I do a sound check for 4 or 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you do, Lorraine. I say hi to everybody before.
Yeah.
And you know what, Culture? That's a nice thing that you do too, because it's very inclusive. Makes your chat, ties to the chat, makes them feel welcome, and it's nice that you do that.
Yeah, I try to get as many people as I can in that little 4 or 5 minute break. But Lorraine is the champion of getting everybody's names, so she does a good job.
Oh, thank you.
No, I had a lot of fun, and Dadman, you're always fun to hang out with. And Lorena, I still feel very, very grateful that you invited me to be your guest host for this particular show every Sunday.
Well,
Makes my heart happy. I'm happy. I got my
There you
joy
go.
bucket. I refill my joy bucket here every Sunday, which is a great way to go into the week.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Love having you here. And okay, now you know. Now I have earbuds. Thank you guys so much, of course, for being here. I appreciate the heck out of that. Nothing tonight for me, but go over to Demogenized channel, #Lorena Raid. He's doing gaming, so please you go over there. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be on the Burnett Network with her of Positive Fandom for Ladies of the PGS. And 7 p.m. tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll be having the video premiere of the watch party for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, because we are excited about John Wick Chapter 4 with myself and Retro Nerd Girl of Positive Fandom giving a ton of commentary on this flick. So please do check that out. Dark Council, Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Fatal J's channel. Of course, theme park stream is going to be in the evening on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you are a channel member, I'll be having a members live stream on Saturday at 12 noon. So please do not miss that. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks so much to my panelists, Dadman Walking and Culture Casino, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.